Breaking news. Something truly unexpected has just unfolded on the world stage. But this isn't the usual kind of headline that fills our screens. This time, it wasn't about war, scandal, or political intrigue. It was about a voice that would soon echo far beyond the walls of any conference hall. At the United Nations, where countless speeches often blur into one another, a Filipino diplomat, Dr. Elena Reyes, stepped up to the podium, ready to speak. The world expected the usual, a plea for aid after a devastating typhoon. But instead, they received something different, a story. It was raw, deeply emotional, and delivered in an accent that, not long ago, some had openly mocked. No one laughed this time. Instead, they listened, truly listened. This is how one woman's voice, shaped by the rhythms and struggles of the Philippines, became a global phenomenon, inspiring millions. Her journey began with childhood ridicule, the sting of laughter echoing in school hallways. And yet, it ended in a standing ovation from the world's most powerful leaders. Dr. Reyes didn't beg for help, she demanded attention, by embracing her true self, flaws and all. Her speech wasn't just about disaster relief, it was about the prejudice that judges how we speak, not what we say, and the courage it takes to challenge that. In a world obsessed with proper English, Elena proved that the most powerful language is the one spoken from the heart, with honesty and conviction. Our accents aren't mistakes, they're living maps of our history, our families, and our culture. They tell stories of where we come from. Filipino English has long been the butt of jokes, a punchline in classrooms and comedy clubs alike. But Dr. Reyes turned that stereotype upside down, transforming it into a symbol of pride. She showed the world that her way of speaking carried the resilience, warmth, and hope of her people, qualities that can't be faked. How did a woman once teased for her accent end up at the world's center stage? It wasn't luck or chance, it was determination, turning every moment of mockery into motivation, every setback into fuel for her journey. Her voice became her strength, not a weakness. It became her signature, her power. This is her story, a story for anyone who's ever felt small, overlooked, or underestimated because of how they sound. It proves that authenticity is the ultimate superpower and that the world is finally ready to listen. Elena Reyes grew up far from diplomats and world leaders. Born in a small barangay in Bulacan, her father drove a jeepney, her mother sold vegetables. Their home was rich in stories and laughter, not money. Elena's window to the world was a crackly radio and old TV. She mimicked British newscasters and Hollywood actors, determined to master English. But her Tagalog-accented English drew giggles and stung her pride. She practiced in secret, filling notebooks with new words, believing English was her ticket to a bigger life. Her parents, though they spoke little English, encouraged her and saved for her education. They believed in her dream even if they didn't fully understand it. Childhood laughter could have broken Elena, but it fueled her. She studied harder, determined to master English and prove everyone wrong. Her father, a man of few words, listened to her read aloud after long days of work. He never mocked her accent. Instead he said, "Anak, your voice is strong. Speak the truth with a good heart." That became her shield. Language, he taught her, was about connection, not perfection. Elena stopped trying to erase her accent and started focusing on her message. She joined debate and public speaking clubs, her confidence growing. When people commented on her accent, she replied, "This is the sound of a Filipina with something to say." Her father's promise became her own. She would use her strong voice, always speaking the truth. Her accent became her identity, not her flaw. She learned to own it. Elena's academic excellence earned her a scholarship to the University of the Philippines. There she faced classmates with polished Western accents and subtle prejudice. Her ideas were often dismissed because of how she spoke. Professors corrected her pronunciation in front of everyone. She could have retreated, but she pushed harder. Her work was thorough, her arguments compelling. She realized her accent was a reminder of who she was and who she represented. After graduating with honors, she passed the Foreign Service exam and became a diplomat. In every posting, she was often the only one who sounded like her. She met condescension with competence, and her unique voice became her signature. People began to recognize and respect her for it. Her accent was no longer a barrier, it was her bridge. In 2025, Typhoon Amihan devastated the Philippines, leaving entire communities submerged and countless families displaced overnight. The scale of destruction was unlike anything the nation had seen in decades. Elena, now a senior diplomat, watched helplessly from afar as her homeland suffered. The images on the screen were almost too much to bear. Her heart ached for the people she grew up with. The president was scheduled to address the UN, to rally the world for aid, but a sudden communications blackout made it impossible to reach out directly. Panic set in at the mission. This was their one chance to plead for help, and time was running out. Every second lost meant more lives at risk. The ambassador turned to Elena, urgency in his voice. "It has to be you. You're the only one who can do this now." All eyes were on her. There was no time for a prepared speech, no script to hide behind, just raw emotion and the weight of responsibility. Old insecurities rushed back, memories of laughter, condescension, and doubt from her past echoed in her mind, threatening to overwhelm her. But she remembered her father's words. Speak the truth with a good heart. His advice had always guided her, especially in moments of fear. She looked at the images of devastation and realized this wasn't about her. The faces in those photos needed her voice more than ever. Her fear was a luxury her people couldn't afford. Their survival depended on her courage and resolve. She took a deep breath, nodded to her colleagues, and walked to the podium, determination building with every step. This was not a routine address. It was a nation's cry for help, a desperate plea echoing through the halls of power. Elena was ready to speak, not just for herself, but for millions who had no voice in that room, for every family waiting for hope. She embraced her accent, her story, and her people, drawing strength from her roots and her heritage. She stepped into the spotlight, carrying the hopes of a nation on her shoulders. Elena stood before the UN General Assembly, her heart pounding in her chest, the weight of her country's hopes resting on her shoulders. She had no prepared script, only the stories of her people and the devastation etched in her memory, images of ruined homes and lost lives swirling in her mind. She began, her voice steady but full of emotion. "I am from a country of islands. The sea gives us life. It is our source of food, our livelihood, our connection to the world. But today, it has taken everything from us. Our villages, our families, our sense of safety." She spoke not in statistics, but in stories. Her missing cousin, fishermen who lost everything, mothers searching for their children, the terror of the storm that tore through their lives and left only heartbreak behind. Her Filipino English was not a barrier, but a bridge, connecting her pain to the world's conscience. She explained bayanihan, the spirit of community, of neighbors lifting each other up in times of need. She didn't apologize for her accent, she owned it, letting it carry the pride of her heritage. "My English may not sound like yours," she said, her voice unwavering, "but it is the English of resilience, of survival, of hope that refuses to die." Her voice cracked with emotion, but never broke. She stood tall, refusing to let her pain silence her. She was not just a diplomat, she was a daughter of her nation, carrying the stories of millions. "We are not asking for pity," she declared, her words ringing through the hall. "We are asking for your humanity, for your compassion, for your action. We cannot survive this alone. Help us. Stand with us." The hall was silent as she finished, every eye fixed on her, every heart moved. Her words cut through politics and reached hearts, leaving many in tears, others deep in thought. She had spoken for her people, in her own voice. The world listened, truly listened, for the first time. Her accent became the sound of authenticity, a symbol of courage and truth. Elena's speech was a turning point, a moment that would echo far beyond those walls. The silence that followed was more powerful than applause, a testament to the impact of her words and the hope she inspired. For a moment, the hall was silent. Then, applause erupted. Delegates rose to their feet, moved by Elena's courage and honesty. It was an unprecedented standing ovation, not for a diplomat, but for a woman who spoke from the soul. Tears streamed down Elena's face as the world applauded. The speech was broadcast globally and quickly went viral. The voice of the Philippines trended worldwide. People shared the video, praising her sincerity and leadership. News channels dissected her speech, focusing on its emotional power. Pledges for aid poured in at record speed. Elena's words had created a global moment of empathy. Back home, she became a national hero. Her speech played on every TV and radio station. For a grieving nation, her voice became a symbol of pride and resilience. The girl once teased for her accent was now the country's most respected voice. Her authenticity had changed everything. The world had listened and responded. Elena's speech sparked a global movement of linguistic pride. Young Filipinos began posting videos with "Just my accent is my story," embracing their voices. Teachers used her speech as a lesson in cultural confidence. The shame around Filipino English began to fade, replaced by pride. The movement spread worldwide. People from India, Nigeria, Jamaica, and more shared their stories. The idea of a correct English accent started to crumble. Elena became the face of a pushback against linguistic prejudice. Messages poured in from around the world. Her accent inspired others to embrace their own. Media outlets began celebrating the beauty of world Englishes. Comedians' old jokes about Carabao English fell flat. A new generation of Filipinos proudly showcased their language and culture. Elena's speech gave them permission to be themselves. The accent once mocked was now a badge of honor. In the years that followed, Dr. Elena Reyes became a respected diplomat and advocate for climate justice. Her voice carried unique authority. People listened with their hearts. She mentored young diplomats, especially those from developing countries. Her workshops focused on sincerity, not perfection. "Forget about sounding perfect," she told them. "Find your truth and speak it in your own voice." She shared her journey, from being laughed at to receiving a standing ovation. By being vulnerable, she gave others strength. She taught that accents are stories, not flaws. Her office became a haven for outsiders. Elena's legacy was more than one speech. It was a shift in how we see language and power. She proved authenticity is more persuasive than perfection. Her story inspires millions. Our voices, in all their forms, are to be celebrated, and that message will echo for generations.